Hey, I'm Melanie Mills, Toasted Blonde. Today we're going to talk about medical marijuana in Maryland. We're going to talk about different means of ingestion and partaking and what's best for beginners. Stay tuned. Hey, I'm Melanie, Toasted Blonde. I make videos about medical marijuana in Maryland, and if you're interested, click the subscribe button right there, mostly for beginners because that's what I am. So subscribe and we can communicate back and forth and talk about what I'm learning, what you're learning, and all these exciting things in Maryland. Okay. Today we're going to talk about means of ingestion, how to get high, what is the best way for you. Now, right before I'm going to tell you I'm a beginner. Beginner. Sorry about that. I'm a beginner. If you know how to dab, I don't know anything about that sort of thing. This is not the video for you. I'm the wrong person to be watching. I'll be watching your videos, okay? I am a beginner. I know I've been involved in the medical marijuana field for about 8 months now, and is it 8 months? Yeah, 8 months now. And before that I knew nothing. So this is only things I've learned in 8 months, and I want to share with you, and I'm bound to get something wrong, so please comment down below and let me know what I got wrong or what I should look at or anything else. Let's have this be more of a two-way communication. But I want to share with you what I've known, because in the 8 months I've learned a lot of things, I've made some mistakes, and I want to share with you. So I want to talk about one of the first things when you're starting out with medical marijuana is you need to figure out, I think the first thing you need to figure out is not the sativas or the indicas or the terpenes or any of that stuff, or the CBD, right? None of that. You need to figure out what is the best means of ingestion. Best means delivery means what works best for you, for your lifestyle, what hurts, what gives you the best results. So today we're going to talk about 5 different means. Okay, we're going to talk about smoking, we're going to talk about vaping, we're going to talk about tinctures, we're going to talk about topicals, and we're going to talk about edibles. We're not going to talk about dabbing. I know nothing about dabbing. I'll tell you this, dabbing it's highly specialized with concentrates, and it is not for beginners. You want nothing to do with anything that has called shatter or wax or sugar or anything like that. That's not for you if you're a beginner. It's not for me. It's for somebody else and a different video and a different group of people than I'm in, okay? Okay. So we're going to talk about these 5 things, okay? And these 5 ways are the best for beginners. So let's talk about the old school methods. Smoking. You've got your pipes, your bongs, your joints, okay? So the thing about smoking the marijuana, about smoking is this. It is, let's go through the pros first. It is inexpensive. The flower is the most inexpensive way to buy it. Eighths are around $30 when you're catching them on a sale, and the prices have been coming down, so I mean, usually they're more than $30, but it's the most inexpensive way to get your medicine. It's easy to use. I mean, people have been doing it forever that way. There's many different ways to do it, from, just buying a joint, the pre-rolled now, to rolling your own, to pipes or bubblers or bongs. The cons are, well, let's finish the positives. Positives are that you get the terpenes, there's a good taste and smell that you may enjoy. The negatives are there's coughing involved, it can be harsh, and possible negative health effects, carcinogens from combustion of the marijuana. So the other cons are it's not discreet. It really stinks up your house. I mean, let's be honest. It's not discreet. Like here's a bong. When I can't leave this sitting on my, I guess some people could, but I can't leave this sitting on my kitchen table. But you know what? This little vape pen, I can stash that away easily. Just put it on my desk and nobody is going to really notice it. Okay, so it's more discreet. Let's talk about the high, though, from smoking is instantaneous, right? So you take a hit and you feel high and it lasts an hour or so, and then you can take another more medicine as needed, okay? The other methods are different. Okay, using, I mean, obviously there's different things, like it's a lot smoother when you smoke through a bong. There's also like this new Genius pipe, I think, that cools down the smoke before you inhale it, so it's better for you and it's less harsh. So the only real problem with, there's no real problem with smoking. It's just that all the things I mentioned, and you just need a grinder and you're good to go. I mean, let's face it, I would recommend, if you're going to go the smoking route, get a quality grinder, because like medical marijuana in Maryland is like so pure and clean and fresh, and you don't want to like buy a cheap ass grinder and now pollute your marijuana. Okay, so get a quality grinder so you're keeping things as pure and amazing as possible. Okay, let's talk about vaping, because it's so similar to smoking. So the difference from smoking is that when you smoke it, you're combusting the marijuana and you're inhaling the smoke. When you're vaporizing it, you are heating the marijuana to a high temperature where it vaporizes. It does not catch on fire, but it vaporizes, and you're inhaling the vapors. Just like smoking, one hit, when you inhale it, you instantaneously feel it, and it lasts about the same, about an hour or two. You need, another hit of medicine, another dose. Okay, let's see. Like vaping, you can have the flavors and the smells. It isn't as harsh as smoking, so you're not going to cough as much. You will, I mean, it's not completely smooth. Sometimes you cough, sometimes you feel like there's a lump in your throat. These are all things you have to learn how to hold, how to draw. It doesn't come, for some reason, it doesn't come as natural vaping as smoking, because of the pushing, for some reason, pushing the button and learning to nail is problematic for some people. But you give it time and you will learn how to do it, and you will be a pro in no time. The cons are really, like I said, it does have some pain involved in it sometimes for some people, the coughing or a lump in the throat. It's expensive. Let's face it, you need specialized equipment, or you need to buy the disposable. So it's much more expensive than the flower. Let's talk about vaping though, like the equipment you use. When you vape, you can do, like, usually you buy cartridges, or you buy disposable pens. So I've got a cartridge here and a rechargeable battery. So you buy these cartridges. They're usually called CO2 cartridges. Different places call them different things. Sometimes they're called distillate. That just refers to what's inside is slightly different. I found that distillates are actually a little bit harder to draw on. But for the most part, okay, this is a concentrate in a cartridge, and you buy this, and it's about $60 to $90 for half a gram, and then you put it in, attach it to your battery, and you charge it up and you vape. That's a whole nother video, how to vape. Okay, this method works really well. You can also buy the disposable, like I mentioned. Now you can also vape the flower. The problem with vaping flower is you have to buy another device. Here's a PAX 3, which is a pretty expensive device. There are cheaper ones. So for this, you actually are vaping the flower itself. So here, you open it up here, and here you can see some. You grind your flower and you put it in there, and then this device will heat the flower, and like I said, not ignite it, not combust it. It'll just heat the flower. I've got a lot of weird lighting. It'll heat the flower, and then you inhale it from here. But this is more like smoking a cigarette. So it's going to take like a cigarette, 5 to 10 minutes of constantly inhaling to get all this flower in here. And then you'll get your medicine, your dose. Okay, let's talk about topicals next. Topicals are something I have very little experience with. Talk to somebody else. I really don't know what to tell you. They're for more localized pain. and I really don't know much about them. If you know of anybody that explains them very well, can somebody drop a link down below? I'd really appreciate it. I know there's THC and CBD. The most common is CBD topicals. I know in Maryland there's Mary's Medicinals and Verano. They tend to be really expensive. I've wanted to try CBD oil for a while now, but it's always so expensive, so I just haven't considered doing it. It's something you can make on your own. So one of these days I'm going to try it, and I'll link it out down below if I ever do. But that is something to talk to your bud tender about, and usually someone at the dispensary is very knowledgeable about these things, and so talk to them about the topicals. Okay, next we're going to talk about tinctures and edibles. They kind of go together. First I'm going to say edibles are not really specifically legal in Maryland, so as a workaround they have these things called tinctures. So tinctures are droplets that you put sublingually under your tongue, and you hold it there, and then they absorb into the bloodstream. You swallow some of it, so you also ingest it that way and digest it, and it's more like an edible also. So as a tincture, there are so many available. There are tablets and there are droppers. The droppers tend to be very painful. I know they say like put it with the tea, it can be soothing, but it will burn, it hurts. It's like concentrated, intense mouthwash held under your tongue for 5 minutes. It is a painful experience. However, it gets the job done, and if you find that you can't, none of these other methods work, this might be a method that works really well for you. There are also tablets. Let's see, I think Dixie has the tablets. I know Verano just came out with some microdose tablets, only like 2.5 milligrams. Oh, which is a good time to mention that. Write this down. If you're a beginner, write this down. If you're not a beginner, what are you doing watching me? I don't know what I'm talking about. I mean, I know what I'm talking about a little bit, but I'm on like such a beginner level. A dose is 10 milligrams, okay? Some people take less than a dose. Some people need double doses or more. But a dose of THC is 10 milligrams. That is what's considered a dose. That's just what it's considered, a dose, okay? So when you take these tablets, each tablet tends to be 5 tablets. So you probably want to try out 2 of them, okay? Now the thing with these tinctures and the edibles is that they take a long time to react in your body. So, when you put it under your tongue, you're really not going to feel much for a long time. I'd say, probably. Now, this is not in my experience with people I know, but people I know have not had very good luck with tinctures. When you go to the dispensaries, and they'll say that you'll feel it in like 15 minutes, you're going to start feeling it, okay? But when you ingest it, this is what I do have experience with people actually ingesting it and actually having the side effects of the tablets don't take effect for maybe an hour, up to 3 hours till they start feeling any effects, and then they last a much longer time. Okay? So when you try a tincture, be very careful with your dosing. Do not try one again if you end up drinking it. Don't try one again in an hour, because you're going to, take too much. You have to give it a few hours to see how you feel. One last thing about the tinctures. Tinctures are interesting because you have both the CBD, actually all of it's interesting because it has the CBD and the THC. You may find that you like one or the other. Remember, that is for later on. Right now you're just going to figure out the means of delivery, what works the best for you. Later on you're going to figure out what you like, the specifics of the types of medication, okay? We're going to talk about delivery means, okay? How to ingest it. Okay, let's talk about edibles, because edibles kind of get fun and exciting. The pros, okay, edibles take forever to digest and feel it. So unlike smoking or vaping or a tincture, an edible takes up to an hour. I mean, earliest is usually an hour, up to 3 hours to start feeling effects. Okay, so you can't just, you know, take one drink and then feel, and then an hour later say I didn't feel anything, take another. Now you have to wait up to like 3 hours, and then you may not peak for, you know, 5 hours after that. So when you're experimenting, when you're trying this out, clear your schedule when you're trying edibles or tinctures, or yeah, tinctures really, or tablets. Clear your schedule for the foreseeable future that evening. You're not going to do anything because you don't know how your body's going to react while you're figuring this out. So like I'm saying, you know, 6 hours later after you take it, you are probably still going to be feeling it. The effects are very different for most people than a cartridge or vaping. It tends to be a very relaxing high. It's good for people at nighttime use to relax, and their body just tends to feel more relaxed, less tense. It's good for some people, take it even closer to bedtime to keep them to sleep later at night. Anyway, you should try edibles to see if they are for you. I highly recommend trying the Dixie Elixir because it tastes good and because it works. And then if you like the edibles, you can learn, hey, I've got a video on how to make canna butter, link down up here and down there, and you can like try making it yourself or try other means. I bought this is a little CO2 cartridge, but it's like a dropper from Curaleaf, so you can dose with that, just using a dose of that in your drink or in, you know, your food, or just putting on a spoon and ingesting it. There are means available for edibles if you find that that is the best for you. The cons for edibles, the jury is out. We're not sure, like there's no difference between sativa and indica really when you're taking edible. The terpenes, not necessarily are you getting them all. Like I said, the jury's out. It's pretty unknown if you're getting all the nuances of the marijuana. You're just really not going to taste it. You're not going to enjoy it that way. And the other con is that it lasts. It's a little bit of an unknown for how long it's going to last. Microdosing is available. Like I mentioned, Verano has those tiny little tablets that are 2.5 milligrams THC, so that's available. And you know, once you figure it out, you'll see, you'll try new things and see how it works. But that's the con on edibles. Okay, so I did it. Those are the 5 ways to ingest or to deliver, methods of delivery for medical marijuana in Maryland. Dabbing is not for you. That's not one of them. Not for you if you're a beginner. Just stay away from it, okay? But I do want to talk about your first time. I think I've mentioned enough through this video that the first thing I found to deal with is what means of delivery you like, and then you'll deal with, do you like sativa, or what terpenes you want, or the CBD, the amount, the ratios of CBD to THC, what works best for you. Figure out, you know, obviously most likely you're going to try all the different means and see what works best for you. What I want to talk about right now is your first time at a dispensary, either your first time now or if you've already gone or after you see this. Okay, what I want you to do for your first thing to figure out what means are best for you, I think what you should buy are two things your first trip. Okay, I want you to get the Dixie Elixir. I think it is excellent. If it's not available, try a tablet or a tincture, but I would just go with the Dixie Elixir because you can use it as a tincture and you can drink it. That gives you 2 different means to see how if you like it. It's affordable. It's about $25 for the smaller bottle, and you can take 1 dose or 2 depending, because it's like 6.5. What was it, 7.5? Anyway, take a dose, see if you like it. It's good to see if you. It's a perfect way to see if edibles are for you and see if tinctures are for you. The next thing I would tell you to do is either get a vape pen, a disposable pen, or go ahead and spring for like a battery and a cartridge. So together, if you just get a disposable pen, it'd be about $70, or $90, or together you get a $30 and a $70. It'd be about $100 for that. And that will let you know. I wouldn't worry too much. I mean, talk to your bud tender about, sativa, which strain you should try first, but you already don't know if you like vaping. So just get one and see if you like vaping. Now, you may not like the cartridge yourself, might be too harsh. You might have to dial it and watch another video on how to vape, but definitely try vaping and try the edible. And a couple more things I want to talk about your first time at a dispensary, just because if you're a beginner watching this, you should know that not every bud tender is created equal. Some are just pleasant and fun and nice and get you in and out, but they're not entirely knowledgeable about what you specifically need for your medical condition. Don't be afraid to ask for somebody else to talk about, like, hey, do you have anybody here that can talk about what's the best for depression? And listen to maybe somebody else around you. Maybe there's another bud tender around that sounds more knowledgeable. Work your way over and talk to that person when you have a chance. Not everybody knows everything. I don't know everything. Discard my information. Tell me I'm wrong if I am. But not everybody is a perfect bud tender, and so be careful with that. Second thing is, don't buy everything your first time at your first dispensary. You're tempted to just pile it all in and walk out with a giant sack. But you know what? You're going to want to visit another dispensary, and you're going to talk to that person for a long time, and you're going to want to buy something there. So don't buy everything at the first stop. Third thing is, make sure you set some time out when you go for your first trip to a dispensary. It typically takes about an hour to get checked in and start talking to somebody and figure out what you want. So choose wisely, pick a good time of day, and give yourself enough time to make the right choice. And I think the last thing I wanted to say, which is so stupid, I know, but sometimes you don't get high the first time. Sometimes you think the high's different than the way you thinking it's going to be, and so you don't realize that you're feeling the effects, especially with like the tablets or the tinctures. If you don't think you get anything, then that's fine, but you have to try it another day because you don't know how long the effects are going to last. So sometimes you just don't get high, or you don't know that you're high, especially when you're trying it out. So take your time. It's a process. You're going to learn it, and you're going to succeed and do well. And I am so happy I got the chance to make this video for you, and I really hope you enjoy it. And I hope you leave a comment and tell me what I did right, what I did wrong, and if I should make another video. I'm already planning 2 more videos. One about the different dispensaries that I've been to, and what to do more at a dispensary in Maryland, and another one about strains, probably a couple about strains, and then I'm still such a beginner. Eventually I'm going to talk about all that I've been studying and learning about terpenes, and because I think it's hard to have. I'm making these videos also because when I go to the dispensary, I want to sit there and talk for hours, and then I can't write everything down. I feel like an idiot. So I thought, if you make videos and somebody can listen, and lots of other dispensaries make videos too, you should watch them. They're very helpful, and so you're not stuck sitting in the dispensary for hours. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Subscribe to my channel. Bye-bye.